50% cut in transport fare. Services to run from December 21st, that's of course today, to January 4th. FCTA to investigate waste management practice in Abuja hospitals. This train ride, whilst the 50% cut in transport fare, if they're able to effect it, if they're able to come out with an adequate implementation plan, I do think, however, it was very short notice because it was just announced recently and then we're hearing all of this. I don't think that it was adequate announcement to sort of inform and prepare people for it.
It was only announced yesterday.
Exactly. So if you had something like, it feels like an afterthought. It doesn't feel like something that was planned. It just feels like, oh, everyone's complaining about a big Christmas. What can we do? Let's do giveaway. That feels like it wasn't very properly thought through. Anyway, that's all that we have this morning on this Nigerian newspaper. Let's head over to the Daily Trust.
Yes, and we did, of course, speak a little bit about the issues in the River State, with the lawmakers withdrawing impeachment notice against Fubara. We had Mr. Okai join us earlier to share his thoughts, and the illegalities, that are taking place, of course, in River State, seemingly backed by federal might, which, of course, they might be leaning on towards. On the Daily Trust this morning, Tinubu cuts bus fare by 50%. We, of course, have spoken a little bit about that also. Nigeria's debt now 87.9 trillion naira, says the Debt Management Office. Pro-Wike lawmakers withdraw impeachment notice against Subara. Federal government vows to prosecute kidney traffickers. And, of course, with River State, there's still no proper conversations between these lawmakers and the people. Neither is there any proper conversation between the River State governor, Sim Fubara, and the people of River State. I mean, I believe that people would love to hear exactly what triggered the impeachment notice. What exactly was the reason that he suddenly, deserved to be impeached by these lawmakers? And now that these lawmakers, of course, or rather now that the impeachment plan has been withdrawn, their plans to still move to the APC or port to the APC, how does that work? Are they aware that they're going to lose their seats? Are they hoping that when they move to the APC that nobody would bring it up, the fact that they should be impeached or they've lost their seats in the House? I'm not sure exactly how this works or what their plans are, if they've been advised at all. But still on the Daily Trust this morning, yes, once again, Tinubu cuts bus fare by 50%, declares free train trips. We're ready for implementation, says bus owners. Okay. Book your tickets now, NRC tells travelers. Air travelers excluded. Why? Media Trust honors 27 staff for integrity, excellence, creativity, and long service. These are the big stories on the Daily Trust newspapers this morning. Let's go to the Punch and see what we can find.
All right, let's punch you with the punch. I never miss an opportunity to say that. 50% transport subsidy. Federal government slashes into state fares. Labour knocks government. NRC begins free train ride today. NLC, TUC say government confused. Demand wage award. Katsina, Gombe, Plateau, Delta transporters, others claim ignorance of subsidy. You know what this reminds me of? It wasn't me. I was not aware.
Yeah.
Because they're already claiming they don't know there's a subsidy. I don't know, don't involve me. This is exactly what I was saying. You announced it less than 24 hours and you're expecting it to kick off.
Regardless of when you announce it, is it really feasible?
Let's imagine that it's feasible and it's achievable. Let's just imagine.
Even if you say, listen, this is my problem. Even if you announce it 2 weeks earlier, if you announced it even in October, that from the 20th of December there would be, this 50% slash. Do we have the infrastructure to enable a 50% slash? That's the question that I'm asking. So do we have infrastructure in Gombe State and in Kebbi State and in Benue State and in Edo State to achieve a 50% slash in transportation for the poorest of the poor? I don't think that we do. Not every state is, has the infrastructure for a public transportation service. Not every state has, BRT-looking buses. Not every state has trains. I don't know that there are trains passing through majority of the states that we're talking about here. I'm talking about federal government, trains. We have Abuja, Kaduna, we have Lagos, Ibadan. I don't know that there's any major trains passing through Benue and Benin and the southeast, the southeastern states. So what exactly, how exactly do people get to benefit from the 50% slash? It almost feels like it's useless. And nobody is going to walk to a privately owned transport business and tell them that the president said that we are doing 50% slash. That's not going to work. They would need to buy petrol.
Exactly.
They're not getting a 50% slash in the cost of petrol that they're buying. Now that they're getting 50% slash in salaries that they're going to be paying this month. So these things are just not achievable. And I don't understand how, the government thought about it. If they say, okay, trains, Abuja, Kaduna, Lagos, Ibadan, okay, that's fine. That's achievable. Because the government, of course, fully funds those trains, I believe. So any other thing, I don't know. But we'll see.
Well, anyway, still on the front page of the Punch newspaper, military uncovers 636 illegal refineries. What do we do about these illegal refineries? Seizes 21 million liters crude. Okay. What do we do about illegal refineries? Is there a way? Some people have advocated that the government should find a way to give some sense of legality to these illegal refineries so that we can work together as opposed to completely shutting them down or seizing them and nothing comes out of it. Maybe striking a deal, working hand in hand with them to be able to, I don't know.
I think there's a way. There are ways that they can also be partnered with. We talk about modular refineries a lot. I think states have also started to give approvals and support for modular refineries. Edo State, I believe, has something like that going on. So these ones that we call illegal refineries, I believe that they can not necessarily be fully criminalized, but there's a way that they can also be brought into the system, to increase our oil, quota. We currently have not been able to hit 2 million barrels per day, and I feel like with these things, there's likelihood that these things will be achievable.
Well,
don't criminalize it, somehow, some way legalize it and have some level of control over it.
Yes.
And earn more from it.
But at least there is some good news concerning the refineries. We're seeing that the Port Harcourt refinery is up. Is it running though?
I don't know.
Okay. We did hear that it's up. That's kind of what's floating around. We're hearing that the Port Harcourt refinery is up. Man arraigned for stealing 25 million naira in Lagos. Wait, how did he steal 25 million naira? Did he steal it from the bank? Was it 25 million naira cash? Or did someone give him money to do business and then he decided to defraud the person? I think the details of the story is very important, but very, very telling of greed. How do you steal 25 million naira? Anyway.
What do you mean, how do you steal 25? Haven't got people in government stealing billions?
Well, that's true. Sorry,
we have
I'm looking at it from my small-minded perspective. Okay. Yes, you're very right. That wasn't.
Isn't the CBN governor in police custody today because of allegations of theft? Didn't we have somebody lately being accused of $6 billion or something like that, theft in the power industry, I think, or something like that?
Okay. Rivers Assembly withdraws Fubara impeachment notice. Army retires 113 generals, pledges support for democracy. Reps probe NNPCL JV deal, $60 billion revenue loss. Federal government cuts external borrowing, debt soars to 88 trillion naira. That's all on the Punch. Let's go to The Guardian.
All right. The Guardian newspapers this morning, 78,446 inmates in dire straits. Over 750 daily feeding costs. Bear in mind that a large percentage of these inmates that we're talking about here are waiting trial. They have not been found guilty of anything. I read the story of a young man who was arrested about 9 years ago. His story has become very popular on Twitter. He was arrested 9 years ago by the police for, I'm not sure if he's been awaiting trial. He hasn't been charged with anything in particular. But for the last 9 years, he has been in police custody, or of course in prison, without being charged for anything particular, or being sentenced to prison for anything particular. So yes, there's a large percentage of these 78,000 inmates that we're talking about here that are awaiting trial, that have not been actually charged with anything, have not gotten proper legal representation, but they of course are in prison. And of course we're talking about 750 naira daily feeding cost. 750 naira. 750 naira.
Okay. How, I don't even know, what do you feed, what do you use that to eat?
Oh no. All right, if you look further, it also says here, this is across the 253 custodial centers in Nigeria. Security dogs earn higher budget, get 800 naira per diem, 76,670 a male, while 176 are female. Inmates in dire straits over 750. It says, yeah, beautiful. I'm happy that they put it there. 50,401 are waiting trial and on death row nationwide. Oh, sorry, 50,401 are waiting trial, 3,271 on death row nationwide. I did mention this. So this is what? About 70% of the people who you see here as inmates in dire straits over 750 naira daily feeding cost. More than 70% of these people are awaiting trial, have not been found guilty, have not been convicted of any crime, but are currently in jail. All right. Why Nigerian universities are ranked low globally.
Okay, when you're done.
You can also find that, of course, Akpabio swears in Lalong into 10th Senate, declares Umahi and Gaydam seats vacant. Those two, of course, got federal government positions. Public debts rise to 87.9 trillion naira, despite $1.5 billion drop in external component. And Lagos and Ogun, Nigeria's most economically viable state, says a report. Fubara denies signing peace deal under duress. Also, what you can find on The Guardian. And of course, an interesting one there on the top left, it says Yaba Psychiatric Hospital records 100% admission spike.
And I want us to talk about that story as quickly as possible. And I'm hoping that we can get someone to talk about this. And it's not surprising. It's not surprising to see why there's a 100% admission spike in the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital in Yaba. Life is getting rough for people. Yeah. There are people who already have pre-existing mental conditions, but any slight trigger, and right now the call of life, the way that life is in Nigeria is not even, everything can trigger you. The hardship can trigger you. So it would trigger anyone with the slightest mental issue. And going to Yaba Left, there's so much work that needs to be done in sort of revamping that hospital and giving enough people access to the healthcare that they need. Yep. More conversations will be had about that. Today is not the day, but we'll keep talking about that.